Shalom. Allah start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Harakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Millstone. Salutations to the Ophelet that's pushing this truth across four corners of the earth and all faith, truth, and sincerity. This I'm on about back getting us sitting. Um, Before I get into the sitting, just want to know that just want to let those that that do listen, that my page got a strike, so I'm on this new page right now. It's Crown of Life 1444. So that's this quadruple fours is 1444. So four fours. That's my new page now. So like and subscribe. Because I don't know how much. They might try to do another strike, and gotta wait a whole 2 weeks, and then if I get another one, and then my page will get taken away. But just want to say that. But I'm gonna get into it. This is 2 Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Like I said, the apostles and the elders and Brother Graham Millstone, men Lord had his word. They had the spirit of Lord Yahawah Bahasham, to speak the words of prophecy, to the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are Israelites, to give them, warning, tell them the impending doom, the wrath and destruction that Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is going to bring upon America, Babylon the Great, and like I say, in the times of Jacob's trouble, the prophecies, the time of the so-called Negro, Latino Israelites, is going to catch hell, and be, put into these concentration camps, it's going to be a really bad time for so-called Negro, Latino natives, in the times now going forward, and so forth, telling you about the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, saying, telling you that's gonna be a way of buying and selling with, be a way of buying and selling according to the prophecy of the Bible, Revelation 13:16 on down, and so forth, in the coming of the righteous kingdom, the coming of Yahawashi, the coming of Lord Yahawashi return, who y'all call Jeebus, so that's that's what the apostles and the elders of Brother Graham Millstone, the men Lord, speaking and prophesying to you, so-called Negro, Latino native Israelites, so only the elect is gonna really understand and believe the truth in the words that the apostles and the elders of Brother Graham Millstone teaching. Through the spirit power of the Lord Yahawah Bahasham. But I'll go to this verse. 2 Ezra 15:2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Because the words of the Lord Yahawah Bahasham are faithful and true. His words gonna come to pass. It's not gonna fail. You got people that that don't believe, but hey, the Lord Yahawah Bahasham, his words stand strong and true. And like I said, the prophecies, it's coming to pass. It's happening. As far as time of Jacob's trouble. Like I say, we in the beginning of it. The beginning of sorrows. And like I say, the RFID chip, the mark, which is the mark of the beast, is already here. It just need to be mandatory. They already pushing it, trying to make it something cool. For you to have, to get, but it just ain't made mandatory yet. Once it's made mandatory for you and buy or sell, you gonna it's fully fulfilled, in that sense, and in that understanding of it, and so we in those times, and like I say, in the Lord Yahawashi returning, Lord Yahawashi, gonna deliver his elect of the so-called Negro Latino natives, which are the Israelites. Hopefully, Empire righteous number, and those that believe Lord Yahawashi, hopefully, to escape the wrath of judgment and to escape that second death, from the Lord Yahawashi, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. But on this verse, Second Ezra 15:3, fear not their imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity, excuse me, let me read that again. Second Ezra 15:3, fear not their imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Go to the word incredulity, is don't let their unfaithfulness, trouble you, because uh because you got people that come up to the apostles and men of the Lord, and people that are on the comment boards or whatever, on the internet, they'll try to debunk or say, oh, that ain't gonna happen, or this and that, but the words of Lord Yahawashi is faithful and true. Like I just read, it's gonna come to pass. The prophecies, it's gonna come to pass, and the people, we in those times now, seeing, World War III, we in that stage of, it's gonna get to where it's gonna escalate to, full-fledged World War III, the situation with Iran, Russia going back and forth, Ukraine and UN and so forth, it's gonna escalate, we in those times, so ain't oh, it ain't gonna happen, man, these prophecies are coming, man. The days are speeding up, so we in those times, so those that don't believe, hey, you gonna see, and those, and when you see it, and those that, didn't believe in the apostles and the elders, Brother Grimstone, warn, and especially you so-called Negro Latino natives, you Israelites that didn't take heed to the warning, didn't believe, looked at the apostles and the elders and the Brother Grimstone as crazy. Once the prophecies come to pass, it's gonna be too late. You should have took it serious. You should repent. You should have believed. But like I say, it's all about the elect gonna make it anyway. Hopefully Empire righteous number. But I'm gonna go from there to Second Ezra 15:4. For all the unfaithful shall die in the unfaithfulness. So for all the unfaithful shall die in for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So that's what's gonna happen. Like I said, those that didn't believe, those that stopped believing in the truth of Lord Yahawashi, that stopped teaching the word, that gave up, or just stopped believing, and those that, like I say, 2/3 that didn't believe, those that didn't believe in what the apostles and the elders of Brother Greg Milstone was teaching, the prophecies and so forth, didn't repent, they're gonna be destroyed, in these times going forward, and when excuse me, and when Lord Yahawashi returns in the chariots so-called UFO, bring his wrath of judgment upon down on America, Babylon the Great. And this verse, 2 Ezra 15:5. Behold, saith the Lord, Yahawah, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So that's what's coming to America, Babylon the Great. It's coming to this wicked world, just ran by the so-called white people, red devil Edomites. The Lord Yahawah is gonna bring plagues upon the world, upon this wicked world. The sword, famine, death, and destruction. That's what's coming. You got the drought going on in America. The farmers, they in distress, and they in like, in a mind frame, like it might not be no food, getting put out into these stores, because there ain't nothing to be put out, to push out, because the crops is, the farmers it's drying up. They ain't getting no rain. It's dry. It's just drought in America, Babylon the Great, man. And that's the pledge of the Lord Yahawashi, and nothing good coming to America, Babylon the Great, So that's what's coming, man. Nothing but famine. People gonna be out here dying starvation. Cannibalism. Folks gonna be eating, their own. For the lack of food. People not gonna be having to care for their neighbors because of the lack of food and so forth, resources. So a lot of death and destruction is coming too, man. Like I say, these pestilences, the diseases, and and so forth, man. you know. But I'll go from there. Second Ezra 15:6, for wickedness hath for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So all this wickedness that's is going on here, America, Babylon Great, and in the world, these Edomite doubles, so-called white people, red Edomite doubles, they're pushing out all these wickedness and messing up the water, the air, and so forth. Just polluting, the earth, man. With the toxic chemicals and so forth, man, that they do. Lord Yahawashi gonna deal with them. Their hurtful works are fulfilled. That's all the wickedness, and they push out, and this Mo agenda and all this, and so forth, man. That they are pushing. That's against the ways of Lord Yahawashi, in the Bible. The ways of Lord Yahawashi, they don't acknowledge, the laws and ways of Lord Yahawashi, but they want to call themselves the chosen people. They don't they don't do nothing. They don't honor nothing. They don't honor nothing according to the word of Lord Yahawashi, the Bible. They just lies, and they just telling you lies. They just doing their own thing, and putting up and setting up their own laws and wickedness. They push out there, man. Their unrighteous decrees. So Lord Yahawashi gonna deal with these wicked Edomite doubles, man. And I say 2/3 Israelites that that's hand in hand with these Edomite doubles. Y'all gonna you're gonna die and be destroyed with these Edomite doubles, or you're gonna die and be destroyed right along with these so-called white people, red Edomite doubles, man, that you sold out to, and only the elect of the so-called Negro, Latino natives, which are Israelites, are going to escape the wrath judgments of the Lord Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, when he returns in the chariot, so-called Yahawashi, So with that, I didn't. I hope this was edifying. I didn't, so I didn't want to make this too long. So again, I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Harakah Kadash, to the apostle elders, to the sister brothers, to the few Akawaf sisters that do listen, keep the faith, and Yahawashi keep fighting with that and say Shalom.